I call the next member to speak in debate, the member for Fong Lim.
Thank you, Mr. Acting Deputy Speaker. And might I begin by congratulating you on your promotion to the chair. You are the one member of the House who I am seldom able to make eye contact with, and it's delightful to see your face in front of me.
Because I sit behind you.
For a change. Mr. Acting Deputy Speaker, I rise today to reaffirm sentiments expressed by the member for Port Darwin and also thank the member for Fanny Bay for sharing with us the benefit of her professional experience in the education sector. I think it's important to remember the experiences that we have had outside of this place and bring to bear the benefit of our wisdom and our experiences, whether that be in the private sector, in the public sector, at other organisations, and so on and so forth. So we are lucky to have a diversity of opinion in this room, and we are blessed to have a respectful debate on these issues today. And what I hear is a debate genuinely interrogating policy. And that is a welcome development. It's important that we respectfully agree to disagree on things, and that is possible to do. One thing that none of us disagree about, though, in this House is the importance of education. Education is obviously the key to long-term futures for young people as well as for society at large. And there is, for once, no need for me to exhaustively cite the academic literature in respect of anything to do with the virtues of attending school. Now, I'm fortunate to represent urban schools with extremely positive school attendance rates. I was recently at the school board meeting for Stuart Park Primary School, which is near and dear to me, and I commend them on how successfully they are encouraging kids to come to school. Likewise, Haileybury Rendell School has fantastically positive school attendance rates. And in both of those places, I note that the attendance rates are extremely high for for students of every disposition and background, including those that identify as an Indigenous cohort. Now, they are two very fine and high-performing schools and in urban areas. And I take on board the points that have been made by members of the chamber that we need to provide incentives for people to want to attend school and make school an attractive place to be and learning a positive experience. And it's my heartfelt belief that the Education Minister is committed to making all of those things happen. But we are here today to discuss, thank you, Member for Minister for Education for the interjection. I do believe with sincerity that the Minister is committed to those aspirations. But I return to why we have risen today, and it's to speak about a specific bill with a specific remit. And so I will confine my remarks to reflecting on the remit of the bill. Just prior to doing so, though, I will note that I was the beneficiary, as I have noted from my maiden speech here, of a fantastic, high-quality public education in Darwin at 5 different primary and secondary schools, and I'm extremely grateful for that educational privilege, and I hope with sincerity that future generations are able to benefit from educational opportunities the likes of which I was afforded. I will note in the same breath, though, that sadly, attendance figures at those schools that I myself attended are not what they once used to be. And there's the rub of it. That's why we're having this discussion. How can we address improving school attendance and reduce disengagement? Now, the proposed reform constitutes a clear measure by the government to encourage regular attendance in compulsory education and reduce engagement. That's a first positive development. Enshrining the school officer position in legislation will ensure that the specific role of attendance officer is clearly defined, which is also a positive development. As my learned colleague, the member for Fanny Bay, reflected, the ability for the Department of Education CEO to now appoint authorised officers under the Act is maintained, and that reinforces a multifaceted system of support which factors in a range of roles and methods and tools that are required to address disengagement, truancy and absenteeism. And the amendments, to my understanding, will make the issuing of infringement notices under the Act safer and more efficient, but not the de facto standard. We reflected on the fact that the National Schools Identifier has been incorporated into this legislation as well, and I think it's an appropriate place for it to be included as part of this legislation, contrary to some of what has been said previously. Updates to the regulations will ensure schools can collect the information required to support that national rollout of the Schools Identifier, which will occur in 2027. And once implemented, again, the unique identifier will enable the tracking of students across jurisdictions and provide a safeguard for students at risk of disengagement from education. These are the purported key aims and features of the bill, and I have reason to believe that they are reasonable aspirations within the remit of the bill. Now, a charge was made that this bill fails to address complexity. And it may be the case that this bill is not able to solve all problems in our educational system. Fair enough. Time will tell, but I'm happy to support an affirmative action by the Minister for Education in this space. I'm grateful for the fact that we are constructively making a move in a positive direction, and I'm willing to give the bill my support on that basis. There were reflections also in prior debate about carrot and stick, and I'm very happy to be clear about carrot and stick. I'm not going to launch into talking about rights and responsibilities and political philosophy and John Locke, but I will say this: the balance has been lost on carrot and stick in lots of areas of civil society in the Northern Territory. And that is why we see levels of social and, to my mind, economic dysfunction, the likes of which we have previously not been party to. I don't think anyone in the government is contending that we are anything but a government that is committed to being tough on crime and reaffirm that actions have consequences. The government is willing to stake its governance on the statement that we do believe actions have consequences and that we need to restore the balance of carrot and stick. Withholding welfare payments in isolation indeed may or may not strongly correlate with improving attendance. But let's be clear, this is not a measure in isolation. This measure of restoring a balance of rights and responsibilities is consistent with the totality of this government's legislative agenda to date. And all that we have done here since October testifies to that fact. So school attendance officers alone may not be enough to improve the precarious state of public education. Good things are happening in public education, good people work in public education, and this government wants to support them and support our young people to attend school and enjoy school, because we all know in this House that educational futures are the key to uplifting our economic and social futures as well. So even if school attendance officers are not a silver bullet, at this juncture, on the advice that I have on good authority, I believe they may help. And Mr. Acting Deputy Speaker, on the basis of that, I commend this bill to the House. Thank you.